Okay, let's talk about the Library of Alexandria. I mean, it's one of those stories, right? A legend, really. And we all think we know how it ends. But what if that story, the one we've all heard, isn't actually true? Let's get into it.
You know the story. It's simple, it's dramatic, it's perfect for a movie. It's this picture of one single massive fire, a total inferno that just wiped out all the knowledge of the ancient world in one terrible night.
I mean, just think about it. In that version of the story, countless scrolls. We're talking lost plays, incredible scientific discoveries, whole histories of entire peoples all just gone, turned to ash. It's framed as this epic tragedy, a wound on human history that you could argue we've never really healed from. Yeah, but that neat, tidy, dramatic story, it's not the whole picture. Honestly, it's not even close. The real story is, well, it's a lot messier. And maybe, just maybe, it's even more tragic.
All right, so first things first, let's really dig into this legend. Why is it so powerful? Why has it stuck around for centuries?
Look, we love a good story, right? And the idea of one single event changing everything, that's a great story. It gives you a clear bad guy, a specific moment where it all went wrong. But, history is almost never that simple. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to understand what the Library of Alexandria really was.
Because here's the thing, it wasn't just a library. It wasn't just one big building with a bunch of scrolls. It was so much more than that. Seriously, try to picture it. It was less like the library down the street and more like a massive research campus. It was basically a university, a museum, and a top-tier think tank all mashed together. This was the absolute intellectual center of the ancient world. It's where the smartest people on the planet came to argue, to discover, to create.
And the sheer scale of it, it's just mind-boggling. At its height, estimates say it held something like 400,000 scrolls. That's not just a big collection, you guys. That's basically the entire sum of human knowledge at the time. So, what on earth happened to it?
Well, this is where our main suspect enters the picture, Julius Caesar. For a lot of people, his name is basically the answer to the question of who burned the library. And look, there is a little bit of truth to this part of the myth. Back in 48 BC, there really was a fire. Caesar's soldiers set some ships ablaze in the harbor, and yeah, that fire spread to buildings on the shore. It's totally plausible, even likely, that some scrolls got destroyed, maybe stuff that was stored in a warehouse by the docks. But, and this is the key part, historians are pretty much all on the same page now. This was not the end of the Great Library. The main building, the heart of the collection, it made it through. So if it wasn't Caesar's fire, then what was it? Well, the truth is, the Library of Alexandria didn't go out with a bang. It went out with a whimper. It didn't burn to the ground. It just faded away. A slow, quiet death that took hundreds of years. It wasn't one thing. It was a classic death by a thousand cut scenario. First, the money started to disappear, as politics changed. Then you had rulers who actually started targeting scholars, chasing them out of the city. So the lifeblood of the place, the brilliant minds, they just left. And without them, the hard work of taking care of the scrolls just fell apart. Copies were made with mistakes, some scrolls got stolen, sure, but way more were just ignored. Literally just left on a shelf to rot and turn to dust. So, you see, that big dramatic fire, it's a story we tell ourselves. The reality is so much quieter and, in a way, creepier. The knowledge wasn't vaporized in some epic blaze, it was lost one scroll at a time. It vanished over hundreds of years, one bad decision after another. You know, every time a politician cut the budget for a scholar, every time a tired scribe made a tiny mistake, every time someone decided that this scroll just wasn't important enough to save. And that is the real story. It didn't go down in a blaze of glory. It was a slow, quiet, creeping death. The kind of destruction that comes from one simple thing: neglect. Which brings us to the real point of all this. The true tragedy of the Library of Alexandria isn't some ancient history lesson. It's a warning. And it's one that is incredibly relevant to us right now. So let's just lay it out. The myth? It's sudden, it's flashy, it's dramatic, it's a great story. But the reality? It's slow, it's quiet, and it is every bit as permanent. I mean, the end result is exactly the same. The knowledge is gone.
But the cause is so much more normal, so much more boring. And that means it was so much more preventable. And that's really the heart of it. The tragedy of the Library of Alexandria isn't about a sudden act of destruction. It's about long-term neglect. It wasn't one big bad decision. It was a million tiny ones. A slow societal forgetting, a gradual consensus that this amazing treasure trove of human genius just wasn't worth the effort to save anymore. So that leaves us with a pretty tough question to chew on, doesn't it? The story of Alexandria isn't just about the past. It's a mirror. It's a warning about how fragile knowledge really is, and how it's not the big, dramatic flames we need to fear, but the quiet, creeping rot of just not caring. So you have to ask yourself, what knowledge are we quietly letting fade away today?